I just love God that much. Here at Jackson State, the meteorology program is absolutely phenomenal. Worship doesn't have to do with music, it has to do with like all the elements of our lives. God will always remind us that we need to worship Him.
Going on my, not daily hike, but I try to hike every now and then. I'm in Casper, Wyoming, at a Casper Mountain, and I'm up here doing some research on the total eclipse. If you haven't heard already, but yeah, I'm just taking it all in, man. Yeah, it's crazy to believe that just the dream has taken me this far. And let me turn around because I've come too far. But anyway, yeah, I'm 21 years old. A lot of you know my story, and yeah, I had to remove myself out of my own way in order to get here, where I am right now. Not just Wyoming, but in a place in my life where success seems like it's at its peak, but I'm far from my peak. Yeah, I have a long way to go, and yeah, I'm just really grateful for where God has, brought me from, and how far He's, well, how long He's kept me under His wing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like if He can do it for me, He can do it for you. I kind of say the same things a lot of times, but I do that because I want you to see God's glory inside of me. And so every time you see me, I want you to believe in yourself and think, I can do it, or, I can fulfill that dream, or, God can bring me from a low place and bring me to a high place. So I say that because I'm in like 9,000 above sea level, and I'm like losing breath, but not just literally, but well, literally too. He'll like bring you higher than where you were. So never give up on God, guys, and yeah, keep your head in the game, and God got your back. God is for you. Who can be against you? So go all in. Remove yourself out of your own way, and you will be surprised how far you can go. It's KG. Peace out.
I have the pleasure of introducing Keon. He is a second-year protege that I had the pleasure of knowing last year. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's always very well dressed, and he's also a very good photographer. I think on every trip that we've gone on, he's always had his camera, and so it's really exciting that his project this summer gets to use his photography skills.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. My name is Keon Gibson, and today I'll be talking about my summer research on measuring solar coronal magnetism during the solar eclipse of 2017. I would like to thank my mentors, Scott in the back, for being here, and my other mentors, Steve and Andrea, and even my colleague, another intern at HAO, for helping me out on this project, Alyssa Boyle. So let's get started. For this total eclipse, we're going to be studying the sun's corona, which is this circle area right here outside of the sun. And the sun's corona is basically the outer layer of the sun's atmosphere, which is made up of plasma and solar flare explosions from within the sun. Our overall goal is to measure specific corona emission lines that can give us more information about the strengths of these magnetic fields within the sun's atmosphere. A little bit of background, and if you were here earlier to hear Marcel's presentation, he really went into more detail about the sun and these magnetic fields, but I'm going to hit on a few things here. Once these solar magnetic fields begin to build up with plasma, they then, once these magnetic fields can no longer contain this plasma, and then burst and create solar flares / solar winds. So this video at the bottom here, you will see how these magnetic fields form and how they erupt and then turn into solar flares, solar wind, etc. So next, these solar flares / solar winds have dangerous particles, protons, electrons, and other types of radiation, or etc. And with these particles, as they reach the Earth's magnetic field right here, they like to align themselves with our magnetic fields within, just like in the sun's magnetic field, they like to align themselves within the Earth's magnetic field. And this can cause a disruptance to the Earth's magnetic fields, our GPS, our communication systems and astronauts as they enter and leave Earth, and also our power grids and plus more, which we know is space weather. But back to this eclipse event. So there are 4 points of contact during this eclipse, and we're only going to be studying contact second and third contact. And as you can see here, this orange and green area, that's where we will be during this observation. This is the path of totality, and I'll go into a little bit more detail after on the next slide. But second contact will be around 11:42 a.m. in Casper, Wyoming, and third contact will be around 11:45. So we only have about 2 minutes and 28 seconds to do this observation. This whole summer preparing, and we're only we're only studying 2 minutes worth of data. So, but the whole eclipse itself is going to be around 2 hours and 47 minutes. And this observation will be done fully automatically. We're hoping to not have to touch the cameras or the telescopes or anything like that. So, and like I said before, this path of totality, a lot of people think that, you know, it's an eclipse coming, you will see the full moon covering the sun anywhere in the world, but that's not true. You have to be in this path of totality, and there's a specific path that you have to go to see the full moon cover the sun. So in these two videos, I'm showing the alignment between the Earth, Moon, and Sun. And so the video to your right is showing how the alignment and rotation of the path of totality will stretch across the U.S. And the video to your left is showing how the path of totality stretches from Oregon and transitions down to South Carolina. And I'll leave that here so you can look at it a little bit more. So next, our observation equipment. We're going to be using the pole cam visible camera and the FLIR infrared camera. A little side note, I was really afraid to touch these cameras because they're over like $2,000. The FLIR camera itself is over like $100,000 itself. So yeah, just being careful with testing and everything like that. But to go into a little bit more details of what we're actually looking at during the solar eclipse. For the pole cam, which is the camera to the right, to your right. No, to your left. We're going to be looking at the visible wavelengths, and we're going to be studying iron, nickel, and iron again, and continuum wavelengths. And so to give you more of a visual of what that looks like, I've showed the visible spectrum for nickel and iron. And so these are specific emission lines within the visible spectrum, so you can see like what they look like. And we're overall we're looking for to see like what the temperatures are going to be within these wavelengths in the sun's corona. And at the bottom here is the continuum, and you can see where each visible wavelength length lies on this visible spectrum. So a little bit more details about the pole cam. It takes numerous polarized angles from each image, and so this pattern grid shows you in a little bit more detail of what's going on inside of this camera. It has its own pattern grid, which is very unique, with 0, 45, 90, and 135 degree pattern grid. And so the way this works is once the solar processes produce photons with different polarizations, they align themselves or correlate themselves with its matching electric field within the pattern grid. So a 45 degree photon won't match up with a 90 degree angle within the pattern grid. And so we're going to attach that pole cam camera to this stellar view telescope. It's basically going to give us a more detailed view of the sun, which I think is pretty cool. I'm going to hook up my Canon camera DSLR to it just to get an overall testing to see how it goes. So, but back to the pole cam. Essentially, we're just going to have the camera, the filters, and the telescope looking at the eclipse. So these filters are going to filter out different filters that are going to study, that are going to allow us to observe each wavelength. And we're actually doing that for the next thing, which is the FLIR infrared camera. But it's not much to this camera. It's basically just an infrared camera. As you can see by this motorcycle that FLIR provided us with, you can see major details of this motorcycle in high definition. And you can see even my thumb at the bottom, how high in resolution it is. And I thought this is my favorite camera personally. And yeah, we're going to do the same things with the filters. with these wavelengths, so instead of the visible wavelengths. So here we're going to use infrared. We're observing infrared wavelengths, and to your left, I'm showing the infrared spectrum, and this is the visible spectrum to your left. And so to your right, I'm showing the infrared spectrum, and the wavelengths that we're going to be looking at are the short waves and the mid waves. And so we're going to be observing the iron, magnesium, and silicon and continuum wavelengths. So I don't want to bore you with that anymore, so I'll go to the next one. So for our whole observation, we're running it through LabVIEW, and this is the front interface for this program. Basically, it allows us to upload our script, and in the script, we're going to have our filter wheels, the filter wheel information, the exposure time, the gain, and how many images we want for each wavelength. And also, we're going to have a live video feed to show what's going on during the process of this eclipse. And once this program takes the images of the sun's corona, it's going to spit out the last image that it took, and then output that data onto this table, and then which we can export onto an Excel spreadsheet and give that information back to the public. So so here is where we're going to be observing the eclipse. We have our cameras right here and our telescope in the middle. This is the desk area where we're going to be, entering in our, exposure times, our gains, and stuff like that. But I'll talk about that later. This is my area right here. I'll be controlling the flare camera, which is an infrared camera. I think it's over like $100,000 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's a very expensive camera, and I tend to get nervous when I use it because I don't want to break it and it be all on me. So this is my area. I hope I can see the eclipse from here, but I will try my best. So with that being said, it was a deer right there. It's super dope. But anyway, back to the video. This is my photography telescope. It's not really that big, but yeah, I'll be showing you some photos from that later on. But yeah, this is where we're going to be observing the eclipse, right here with the tent and everything. So yeah, this is it.
So we're preparing for the total eclipse by the hour, the minute, and the second. So all we have to do is press start, and the telescopes will follow the path of the solar eclipse and get every element that we're looking for. So here are some of the photos that I took during the total eclipse. These are all my photos. I took them all myself with my Canon T3i, and I was blessed and honored to be approached by Science News as well as NASA to be featured on their websites. So overall, it was a great summer. I'm so glad I got this opportunity to go up to Casper, Wyoming and collaborate with some amazing companies and even NASA. What's up? I'm Keon Gibson. Listen, if you like dope, high quality content and positive vibes, go ahead and like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram. And if not, I still want you to do it anyway, okay?